Marcus Rashford, Mason Mount, Amad Diallo, or Antony dos Santos, who should be starting on one of the wings together with Alejandro Garnacho on the other and Højlund up top as Manchester United returns home at Old Trafford to take on Liverpool, the same ground at which we beat them 4-3 in one of the classics, perhaps of all classics in English football. But that was in the FA Cup. This is the Premier League. They are fighting for a title. We are fighting for the top four. Welcome to the United Hotspot. My name is Webb, and here is a quick opinion about our forward line that is beginning to look confusing for the boss Erik Ten Hag. There is competition, a lot of it, for one of the wing positions. Of course, we know that on the left now, it is becoming Garnacho's position for keeps. Before, he was mostly on the right, but when Rashford is pulled out, Garnacho is obviously the preferred guy to be starting on the left wing. Now, the question is, who will be now starting going forward for the rest of the games that are finals? Each game we play now going forward is a final. So every player who gets the opportunity to start should know it. So who should be starting on the wing? Now there are questions about, of course, Marcus Rashford, because in the last game it looked like Erik Ten Hag was using him as part of his rotation, knowing that we had important games now coming up. We had Chelsea, now we've got Liverpool. Thinking he's resting him. Perhaps that's what he told him when he was benching him. We are resting you for the Liverpool game. Let's rotate the team. But the reality is Marcus Rashford, and he has been trending for all the wrong reasons. I think after the Chelsea game, he was not tracking back. Even when he came on as a substitute, he was not showing hunger and desire. He was just running and trotting back, yet we're trailing. It shows you that this is a player who has lost his character, his mentality, his urge and drive to fight for the club. So for me, the one player I don't expect to come back into the starting 11 is Marcus Rashford. If it's the law of elimination, I'm eliminating him first. No chance for him to be starting. And I don't care what he will do during training. I think he not a reaction when he was introduced from the bench in the game against Chelsea. He showed that he was frustrated, that he was not happy that he didn't start. It showed clearly all over his body language. And that's why there's been a short video of him trending, a sad video to watch of him trending because he failed to perform, to show up when he was brought on as a substitute. So one player out is Marcus Rashford, bench player. Mason Mount. Now, Mason Mount is increasingly coming into the mix, I think. He's increasingly looking better ever since he returned from injury. As Erik Ten Hag rightfully said, he has got to be reintroducing him slowly. Don't throw him in the deep end. Which, yes, whereas he has scored an important goal, we cannot be too excited to want him to be thrown in the deep end because, again, he might go back where he was again for a long time. So we've got to handle him with a lot of maturity, with a lot of caution and care, as if we are going to introduce him to come and be playing at the top post level again. Now, the question is now, can he start now? Is he ripe to start against Liverpool? For me, perhaps not yet. I think he's one of those players who can again come on as a substitute and change the energy of the game when the first plan is not going well, like they don't always do most of the times lately. You need a player who's going to come off the bench and bring in that energy, bring in that drive and oof. I think Mason Mount is fast becoming that now. For now, at least, he can go into the starting 11 in the future, but for now, he should be coming off the bench to bring that energy that lacks a bit at times. I think when the Brunos fail, you need a player who's going to step it up, and it's proving to be Mason Mount because of the energy, but also the hunger. He's one of the most hungry players we have in Man United now. So I would keep him on the bench still. Now the be left between Antony and Amad Diallo. We know that Antony performed extremely well. I would say it again. I think the game against Chelsea was Antony's best game in a Man United jersey. He played extremely well with confidence, with application. He was trying out things again. You would see it, and you feel like that's a flow he's beginning to pick. He's beginning to pick a rhythm for himself, and you don't want to spoil that for a player who has got potential. We all know what potential he has, the potential that convinced us to pay 85 million pounds to Ajax to get his signature. So you want to keep him there to maintain that. That's one. That's why perhaps he might come in there. But also, Antony gives us a left-footed player, gives us a different dimension on the left wing. Teams today want to play that inverted wing. And you do recall, I think in the second half against Chelsea, Antony was almost trying to be Iron Robben of sorts. I mean, that's a figure of speech. It wasn't close to him, but that's a figure of speech. Just to show you, by his standards that he has shown lately, he was improved and trying to beat off men, cutting inside, shooting at goal. He was animated even from the start of the game. against Chelsea. You saw that Antony was improving and getting better. You saw him more involved, more, not shy at all. His confidence is back, and when a player who has got potential regains their confidence, it is always good. It's always good. You know that something could come up. So there is that. So Antony for me is a top contender, and knowing that he's preferred by Erik Ten Hag to most of these players, he has been starting more games before. Probably he will be the and also the fact that he's the one who changed the game against Liverpool in that quarterfinal, that gives him an edge. But then you think about Amad Diallo and you're thinking, now this is a kid who scored the winning goal against this same team. In most cases, performs well against the team, you want to give them the chance. There is a drive, a motivation they naturally have against that team, and you might want to build it. Because remember, since he's played the way he played for those few minutes against Liverpool, he has then had to be relegated again out of the game because of a suspension, and then on the bench fully, not playing a minute. Now that's not good because again you're taking him back. You don't want a player to lose it all. You want to keep him there. Now Amad might be motivated to be there, to be able to perform against Liverpool because he beat them in an important game. He scored an important goal against them. That is one. But also the fact that he knows that there is a chance, a big realistic chance that he can actually be ahead of these players. The fact that Marcus Rashford, for example, who has been a weakling for the longest time, is being benched now, he knows that he has the chance, that he can actually have the chance to be a starter in this team. So the psyche is there with him against this same opponent at the same venue. We know that the crowd will be behind him. Imagine how the crowd will be done. Erik Ten Hag is talking about wanting the Manchester United supporters to be rallying behind the club. And I'm thinking, if you're going to get Man United supporters in Old Trafford rallying behind the club, you've got to give them what they want. And I honestly think if I were at Old Trafford and I saw the starting 11 and I saw Amad Diallo running out with the squad, with the starting 11, I would be screaming his name on top of my voice. I would be screaming and chanting. Erik Ten Hag is urging fans not to stop the tragedy chanting. But the only way you're going to get the fans fall in it is if you make the changes. Don't bring back Rashford into the starting team. Give Amad the chance because Amad is the one player I believe that I think unison this excite United supporters. I'm imagining a wing that has Garnacho and Amad against Liverpool and Hoyland up top. I'll trust you me, from the start of the game, Manchester United fans are going to be shouting and screaming on top of their voices, screaming and rallying behind this team. They will, because these are young players. See, at this point, for me, Erik Ten Hag has got to excite the fans. Very important. Excite them by giving them what they want, because you know that Amad Diallo will give you exciting moments in the game that the fans will want to rally on. Make the fans happy. These young players make the fans happy. You see how Garnacho makes all of us happy. Amad will add to that. Hoyland adds to that. Maino adds to that. So that is what fans would want to see. And it's very important now. It's a communication between the team and the supporters. And it's the manager who has got to direct this by his decisions on the pitch. The way he communicated well by benching Rashford, and no one was complaining. We lost because Rashford was not there. No one at all, because Erik Ten Hag communicated, and part of the energy from the West Stand is what drove us to almost beat Chelsea. So I hope that he can do the same. For me, if you ask me, of all those four, my preferred starter, the psychology around the game and everything, never mind Antony playing so well against Chelsea, I would prefer Amad Diallo to start, to send a message, to win over the supporters, to excite them, to shock Liverpool as well, because they know this boy squad, it teams up well with Garnacho. Just give the fans something. You know, Amad will beat off people at the start of the game. Everything will be different. The whole atmosphere and body language will be different. Players, then the stands will be more energetic. And then if it doesn't work, change him and bring on your Antonys, your Rashfords of this world, your Mounts of this world. But start him just to get the fans along. For me, that's what I would do. But knowing Erik Ten Hag, chances are he will either bring back Rashford into the start 11 or stick to Antony. My name is Webb. This is the United Hotspot. Subscribe. I will be back tomorrow, of course, to just again look at how prepared we are. Johnny Evans is most likely could be back in the team. Just could be. But chances are we could also have Harry Maguire in central defense. So it's still a tricky situation, but again, like I keep saying, against Liverpool, we don't need to have all our best players. Anyone can beat them if they are psyched up well. And if Erik Ten Hag this time around organizes his team so that we don't lose games in the dying minutes, we need to manage games better. Liverpool will certainly be a different, more clinical, more improved side. We need to be prepared for them. So we need to take our chances and manage the game better. If we do that, this Man United has what it takes to win all the remaining games, despite losing 5 points in the final minutes of the last two games we've played. Subscribe, guys.